This is Harrison Smith reporting for Infowars, a bombshell story I have here from John Rappaport. Hillary never had a State Department email address. All emails were sent to her at her private, unsecured email. So this actually comes from a story posted in the New York Post on January 31st, 2016. How did this fly under the radar? Well, it's because the media is only interested in covering up the truth and not exposing things that might damage them. And by them, I mean the deep state, of which the media is an integral part. The State Department is lying when it says it didn't know until it was too late that Hillary Clinton was improperly using personal emails and a private server to conduct official business because it never set up an agency email address for her in the first place, the department's former top watchdog says. Howard J. Krongard, who served as State Department's Inspector General from 2005 to 2008, says that this was all planned in advance to skirt rules governing federal records management. Yes, obviously. And this is the question that is always forgotten when discussing the email investigation, when discussing the Russia investigation. All of this started with Benghazi. All of this was revealed with Benghazi. The point of having an off-site email server is not so you can have an off-site email server. It's so you can avoid FOIA requests. It's so you can avoid record laws. It's so you can do criminal things without it being on any official documents. That's why these email servers were set up, to give Hillary Clinton and her cronies complete control over the information that existed on them. And that's a level of control that they would not have if they were using the system set up by the State Department, which automatically is tied into the record system of the United States government, a very important tool for keeping our government truthful. And that's what people forget. They forget that the crime, yes, the crime was having a secret and private and unsecured email address, but that was just a crime to cover up the rest of the crimes. And apparently the State Department knew about it the whole time. And so that's the real bombshell here. It's quite simple. The State Department knew that she had never had a State Department email address. They knew from day one that she would be doing all of her business on an unsecured, inaccessible server, of which she had absolute control and could delete any compromising information without even the knowledge of the overseers, that is, the people of the United States government. Why was this never asked about by the FBI? Why did the investigators never ask about this? Why was this not made a bigger deal of in the past? As John Rappaport points out, do you think that she was asked this during the interviews and the FBI said, you know, well, what about the fact that you never had a State Department address? And she said, as John Rappaport ponders, maybe she said, hey, you know, we're all in this together, so why don't you just forget that server? Why don't you just ignore the fact that I never even set up a State Department email address? Now that's speculation, but it's speculation based off some very good sources, based off some facts that we already know. For example, the FBI agents who were conducting the Hillary Clinton investigation knew not to go in, quote, loaded to bear, because she would certainly enact retribution on whoever treated her harshly once she became president. See, everybody in the State Department, everybody in the DOJ, everybody in the FBI that was tied in with this deep state cabal that was working behind the scenes to delegitimize, to corrupt, and to destroy the Trump campaign and then the Trump presidency. Well, during the campaign, they all knew that Hillary Clinton would win. They knew because they thought they had it rigged. Well, they didn't. The will of the American people broke through. But at the time, they were sure that their next boss was going to be Hillary Clinton. So the way they treated her was the way that you treat somebody who, in just a few months' time, will have absolute control over your entire life. They treated her with kid gloves. They treated her like royalty. They treated her like she had done nothing wrong, likely because the crimes in which she was involved implicated the very people investigating her, the very people in charge of bringing justice to this blatant criminal, Hillary Clinton. Loretta Lynch, James Comey, Peter Strzok, Andrew McCabe, all of these people were in it together. It's quite simple. They all knew exactly what was going on. They were all manipulating the American public. They were all manipulating the American government. They were all hiding each other's misdeeds. They were all helping each other commit these misdeeds so they had something to blackmail each other with. This is how the deep state works. This isn't how representative democracy or a republic is supposed to work. This is how the Soviet Union worked. This is how the most tyrannical and authoritarian governments in the history of the world worked, that you treated the appointed leaders of that government differently than you treat everybody